He is knowledgeable and passionate about the subject, but he wasn't always that way. Branson himself admits he is a recent convert to green living.
The Arctic is experiencing faster melting.
I was sort of, embarrassingly, up till only a few years ago, hadn't fully realised the threat of global warming, and I'd take a lot of credit to Al Gore, who came to London and came to my home before he launched his film, and gave me a sort of 2 hour one-to-one lecture to persuade me to sort of get involved on the cause. And as a result of that, I read a lot of books about what was going on to our beautiful globe that we live in, and realized that we had a real problem on our hands.
The World Trade Center memorial would be underwater. Think of the impact of a couple 100,000 refugees, and then imagine 100 million.
From a business point of view, so many people say, oh, you know what, if the United States takes the lead on this, we're going to lose out to the competition. Well, you have taken the lead in your industry. Does that hurt you from a competitive point of view?
No, I mean, if you take the lead, you can actually save money. I mean, like, you know, we've been advocating that every single plane in the world should be towed to the end of the runway and towed from the end of the runway back to its stand. Now, that won't take any longer for those planes. It'll mean that in JFK, instead of 90 minutes of spewing forth carbon into the atmosphere, it'll save, you know, millions and millions and millions of tons of carbon being spewed out. And the airline industry would save a lot of money. But even in a situation like that, it's like pulling teeth. It's tough to get everybody else on board, but we'll get there.
You have the challenge, was it $25 million challenge for folks to come up with a sustainable fuel. You have also committed, I think, what, $3 billion for Virgin to become more bio-friendly when it comes to its fuels. How's that going?
Well, the $3 billion commitment is basically to say that any monies we make from our dirty businesses, our airline businesses, will be invested into trying to find clean fuels for our airline businesses, clean fuels for cars and lorries and buses. And it's progressing well. I mean, we've now got offices in San Francisco, in London, in China, where we've got people trying to develop, you know, better battery power, better solar power, better wind power. And also trying to develop, I mean, in particular, something called cellulosic butanol, which we think could be the fuel of the future.
Cellulosic butanol or cellulosic ethanol could change everything. Instead of using corn for fuel, you use agricultural scrap, the stuff you throw away. But we are still years away from seeing that in the marketplace. Branson says there are alternative fuels other than corn-based ethanol that are available today.
I mean, if you say take sugar-based ethanol from Brazil, it's very economic to produce. It doesn't damage, you know, the rainforests, or it's about 6 to 7 times more efficient to produce than corn-based ethanol in America, and yet there's a massive import duty on it, and so it's prohibitive to import it into America. 85% of every car in America could run on that if it was allowed to be imported, and it doesn't produce any carbon at all. You know, we need a government to take it by the horns and sort it out.
There needs to be an infrastructure, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid that you need a government that is not beholden to the oil companies. You need a government that says, you know, the environment is something that we're worried about. We don't want, you know, this world to get to such a boiling point that we destroy future generations, and it won't take much. I mean, like, you know, if we were allowed, for instance, to import sugar into America without an import duty, you could actually sell fuel at the petrol stations at a much lower price than you could sell the dirty fuels we import from the Middle East. You know, likewise, people could also, you know, use ethanol from the corn belt in America. I mean, again, that is better than importing dirty fuels from the Middle East. But we just, you know, somebody's just got to grasp it and sort it out here.
The public's starting to understand. It's not going to be one type of fuel that changes everything. There's transportation, there is electricity, there is essentially the materials we build with. So going green is on so many different levels, especially when you're talking about energy, right? It's not just one type of energy that's going to make a difference.
No, I mean, I think, you know, all of us can play our bit. I mean, you know, in my own household, you know, I do my best to make sure the appliances are turned off when I go out. It's not an easy thing to do, but you know, you need sort of reminders on your door to sort of say, you know, turn them off when one goes out. You know, even if you, I mean, you know, I had a debate with my wife about air conditioning, you know, like, which I'm sure we all have, you know, when you get green and the other person's not quite as green as quickly as you know, you're going to get debates. But, you know, even if you turn your air conditioning off for 5 seconds, it's better to turn it off and then turn it back on again 2 or 3 minutes later. And, you know, obviously things like changing the light bulbs should just go without saying. I mean, it should be mandatory, you know, government policy. If everybody plays their bit, that will make a massive, massive difference.